Children with severe allergies are showing dramatic improvement after taking part in a trial at 5 major NHS hospitals. The new immunotherapy treatment, using small doses of everyday foods to build up a patient's tolerance over time, seems to be going well. So far, 139 people aged between 2 and 23 years old have taken part, all with allergies to peanuts or cow's milk. The results have been highly promising, with children and young adults being able to safely consume food, which previously would have sent them into very dangerous anaphylactic shock. 5-year-old Grace Fisher had a severe milk allergy before the trial. 6 months later, amazingly, she can drink a cup of milk a day. Her mother has said that she can't now wait to drink her daily hot chocolate. Isn't that great? Consultant on the trial said to have a patient who's had anaphylaxis because of 4 milliliters of milk, to then be able to tolerate 90 milliliters, so going from a tiny sip to a cup, he says is nothing less than a miracle. The trial has been funded by the Natasha Allergy Research Foundation, which was founded following the tragic death of Natasha Ednan-Laperouse in 2016 after she suffered a severe allergic reaction to sesame. Natasha's mother said about the results, "This is a major first step in our mission to make food allergies history." The trial's being run at hospitals in Southampton, London, Leicester, Newcastle, Sheffield, so all over the place. And if it works, it should be extended to other locations in the UK. And I wonder if you've been involved and whether you think, actually, this is the way to go, microdosing. 88291 is the text. Email vine@bbc.co.uk. Talk in a moment to a mum whose 11-year-old has taken part in this trial. Find out more about it. But first, let's speak to Nadim Ednan-Laperouse, who's the co-founder of Natasha's Foundation, which funded the trial. And it must be very heartening after what you went through with Natasha's death to see this progress, Nadim.
Yes, it is actually. I'm sure some of your listeners will remember the story of Natasha passing away on a British Airways plane after eating a baguette. And I know, Jeremy, you've mentioned this on the program before.
Yeah.
But for us as Natasha's parents, it is really heartening to see that there is a way forward and hope for the hundreds of thousands of young people in the United Kingdom who have severe food allergies. There is actually very promising results from this clinical trial midway through that shows the principles of what we're trying to achieve here really work scientifically, and children and young people can get to live a normal life instead of being forever fearful around food, because it can be life-threatening in its worst outcomes.
I remember about 10 years ago a microdosing trial happening, and again they had some positive intimations, and I wonder what let that run into the sand. I was assuming, Nadim, that it was because in the end, to do microdosing with a severely allergic patient is quite a laborious process.
Yes, I suppose to the lay person it is laborious, but to the families or those individuals affected, it's not laborious, because the outcome, it can be dramatically life-changing in a good way. If you imagine that, microdosing, as the very sort of idea suggests, really, it's sort of somebody, in this case, the children who are in the trial are allergic to peanuts or cow's milk. And under clinical supervision, we work out just to what extent they're allergic. And then that becomes like a baseline, essentially the ground zero, if you will. And every 10 days or so, under clinical supervision again, that amount or that dose is increased incrementally with all the tests and all the kind of clinical apparatus around to measure what's going on in the body. And once they reach an improved level, that person can leave, go away and continue every day to have that level at home safely, and then come back 10 days later and for that to be increased again. And of course, the laborious idea of it, to which you refer, is the fact that you have to go to hospital probably 10 to 15 or even 20 times over arguably a period of about a year. But then you can go from nearly dying from a small contact of that food to then actually eating it in significant amount every day. And if it's a case of milk, dairy means cheese. Cheese is on pizzas. Children like pizzas, of course, and donuts. And now these children can participate in the normal food economy with their friends at birthday parties and not be fearful or having an adverse health reaction.
And in terms, Nadim, of the actual process you're describing, and of course I'm guessing that you would have done anything to put Natasha through this when she was alive. I wonder how micro is the initial microdose? Is it microscopic? Is it like a grain of sand or what?
Yes, it's of course it's individual to everyone, as we're all individuals, and so people in the clinical trial will all be at what you call different levels of ground zero, and that's verified and checked by the clinicians when they first start the trial. And for some, that could mean, I'll give you an example, that could mean 1/3 of a peanut could be the max amount they could have before being seriously hospitalized. And after about 6 months, the same child or young person can consume about 6 full peanuts per day.
Wow.
And with milk, as you just mentioned an example, going from just a few milliliters, maybe 3 or 4, to then going up to 60 or 70 or more, which is like a half a glass of milk a day. I mean, that's transformation.
That's amazing. Huge. Amazing. Thank you so much for telling us about it. And great to speak to you again, Nadim. Thank you.
Nadim, thanks very much, Jeff.
Thanks so much, Nadim Ednan-Laperouse. And what we've talked to Nadim and his wife, Natasha's mum, before, and what they went through with their daughter has given them a lifetime mission to try to work out what causes these allergies. And of course, they're so dangerous. Lauren Farmer, you again know all about this. Your son is 11. He's Thomas. Tell us about his allergy before he went into the trial.
Hello, yes, Thomas's allergy was all-encompassing. It took over our lives as part of this study. Now it's completely transformed our lives and reduced that anxiety around food that we had before.
So the allergy in his case was peanuts, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And before the trial, he had to carry an EpiPen, I'm guessing, did he?
Yeah, he still has to carry an EpiPen. Right at the beginning of the trial, they did a food challenge for Thomas, and he could tolerate just under half a peanut. So that dose was gradually updosed every 2 weeks. We had to go into hospital to be updosed, and now he can eat 6 peanuts very, very safely without any reaction.
Isn't that incredible? That it's kind of an obvious process in a way, but I guess it just has to be handled so carefully when they're trying to up the dose.
Absolutely. We have felt all through this process that Thomas's health has been number one priority throughout, and he's had the best possible care.
Oh, it's brilliant. Now, how's he feeling about it?
He doesn't like peanuts anymore.
Funny.
But he's very happy that he now feels safer and he's less worried around food now.
Does he? Okay, he doesn't like them, so I'm guessing that he's not going to eat them by choice. So then do you get into a thing where he relapses and becomes allergic again?
He has to keep taking the dose, otherwise his tolerance will reduce. So
I see. Yeah.
It will stay at that level.
And if he, let's say, he goes to university in 6 or 7 years' time, and he's at a party and there's a bowl full of peanuts, and do you think he could go for a handful, or is that too dangerous?
That would be too dangerous at this stage. Maybe in the future. That's accidental exposure is a massive worry for us as a family. But this has helped to reduce that, and places that we would normally not go and eat, we just would avoid. We can now safely go there, and friends' parties and houses where we're not there is less anxiety inducing.
It sounds like you felt very constrained, have you, before? Because as we know from Natasha's story, the reactions can be so lethal.
Absolutely, yes.
So was there stress before for you?
Really scary, very worried around when Thomas wasn't with us. We'd always have to carry an EpiPen. We still do. We still have to do that. But it's less of a worry now that he's gone through this trial.
Well, thank you. It sounds like good news. It's a great, if it works for many, many people, it's going to be a life changer for so many. Thank you very much, Lauren.
Thank you.
It's Lauren Farmer, who's the mum of Thomas, who's 11, who's done the microdosing, and it seems to be working.